Hi und willkommen wieder bei Sarah's Music. Heute sind wir in Santa Barbara in Kalifornien und wir werden den ganzen Tag verbringen, umgeben von Musik in der wunderschönen Music Academy of the West. Seit den 50er Jahren kommen junge Musiker aus der ganzen Welt hierher zu der Music Academy of the West, um 8 Wochen lang Musik intensiv zu studieren an diesem wunderschönen und inspirierenden Ort. Scott, thank you so much for having us here today. It is a stunning place.
Such a pleasure. You brought a beautiful buzz and energy to this campus today.
Tell me something. I've noticed on campus, it's not only that it's about music, I've noticed how supportive this whole environment is. That the fellows, they can do their thing, they can practice, but you also support them in a fantastic way. You have great things on offer for them, not just music, don't you?
Well, that's the idea. I mean, a professional musician, it's what they do on stage, but it's a lifestyle. It's a complete a skill that they have to have both on stage and off stage, because the idea is what kind of healthy tools that can they have off stage that are going to be able to sustain their career on stage. I mean, you know firsthand how absolutely important that is, and so we do try to provide them those tools throughout the summer. You know, we're representing 10 different countries in 20 different states with our fellows, so they get to come and really experience the West Coast lifestyle, which really is health, body, and spirit.
It really is.
Yeah.
And you also have a performance coach, and just tell me a little bit more of what's on offer for all the fellows.
So we do. We have a performance psychologist. He comes and he works with the fellows on performance anxiety, how to have a really good performance, but then not have a really low performance, but really find something that can always be a good performance over and over again. So giving them tools to really be able to perform at their best all the time. And I think that that's what is one of the really distinct factors about our program, is providing opportunities for the fellows to have a healthy, happy career in music, which is a lifestyle.
It also has a very personal touch here, because you have your compeers and your patrons, and the compeers look after your fellows, but I have the feeling you look exactly at who should be paired with who.
We do. It's kind of like a Match.com type of scenario. We have the fellows send in information about themselves. Of course, we know our donor base very well, but we actually ask them to send in information as well, and so we have a committee. And over a 2-week period, what they do is they try to make the best matches possible. And so when the fellows get here and they like Italian food and they want to practice their French and they like, you know, horseback riding, we've got a compeer that has that same kind of profile.
That's something that I wish I'd had that when I was studying. It's something that one didn't really talk about much in the old days. You just got into a practice room, practiced, did an audition, got the job. But this whole lifestyle idea is something very special to you guys, I think.
Well, and one of the things that's so important, which I hope you've seen, is the engagement of our community. And what we say here is that we really try to give our fellows the opportunity to practice their artistry, which is kind of an interesting concept, but just like you're saying, to get out of the practice room, you can practice your technique in that little box that we know all musicians get to know very well in their careers, but actually getting on stage, performing, learning how to communicate, and that takes a full audience. So what we try to do is, and one of the most important things is when a fellow walks out on stage, they have a full audience, every seat full, or as many as possible full, so they can get out there, they can perform over and over again in front of a live audience and practice communication. And we find so many times artists don't get that opportunity.
Matt, what a fantastic place to spend the summer.
It is. It really is.
You're really one of the shooting stars of the American composer conducting scene, but you are the same age as most of the fellows. So tell me what you're doing with them, and how is that being the same age?
Well, we're doing a chamber opera that I wrote called Second Nature, and then we're performing Smetana's The Bartered Bride. There's no better way for a composer to inspire sympathy or a feeling of being co-conspirators than actually performing the music yourself. You know, if you say, I'm willing to suffer with you, maybe it's terrible, but at least I'm in the fire with you. I think the musicians enjoy that.
Look at our stands, isn't that cool? Okay, here we go. Und jetzt am Strand, was sonst? Die Wassermusik.
Viele Karrieren hat die Music Academy of the West gefördert. Ein berühmtes Beispiel ist die legendäre Opernsängerin Marilyn Horne.
Miss Horne, thank you so much for coming to talk to us today in this amazing campus. You've spent more summers here than most.
Yes, I have. And in fact, my first summer was in 1953 when I was 19 as a student here. And I was studying with some of the greatest teachers of all time, headed up, of course, by Lotte Lehmann.
A legend,
Yes,
a true legend.
Absolutely. She was a part of my life a lot in those years. So I learned a tremendous amount from her.
What were master classes like with her?
Different than mine, because I get into technical things of what it is to sing technically, and she never did that. She never got into technique at all. It was all about
Really?
expression, which was great, you know, because we want that too. I remember one day I was singing Auf eine Wanderung of Hugo Wolf, and it comes to this great place where she blurts out, the singer anyway, "Oh Muse," and she went, "Oh Muse." The audience stood up and cheered. It's really fun.
I've heard from the fellows that your master classes are pure gold because you don't only teach, you explain, you include everybody in the room. Was that something that Lotte did, or is that something you brought as your special thing?
It's sort of evolved now because I've been doing classes for so long, and I happen to be a history buff anyway, and so I like the history of things in music. I love to know, you know, what was so-and-so doing when Mark Twain was writing that book, or what was so-and-so doing when Wagner was writing that, you know, so I get a kick out of it myself, but I'm usually researching at the last minute because I need some dates.
Music Academy of the West is a real team effort. You have the older generation helping and supporting the younger generation of classical musicians, and you have this amazing team. There's yoga on offer. There's all sorts of things. It's a
Those
full
are things that have
package.
been added recently with our new president. He's not new anymore, but Scott Reed is a truly wonderful president, and a lot of wonderful innovations have started with him.
You have sent out so many fellows from Music Academy of the West out into the opera world. Do you watch them with pride as to follow their careers?
I do. I absolutely do. I just get real pride.
Das war's von Sarah's Music für heute. Was für ein wunderschöner und inspirierender Ort, den Sommer zu verbringen, umgeben von Musik. Bis zum nächsten Mal. Tschüss aus Kalifornien. So for today's horn challenge, who better to ask than Marilyn Horne herself? It's a huge honor. There we go. You hold it there. You put your hand in here.
Hand in here.
You use your singer lungs.
I don't need to do anything
here. You don't need to do anything. You just need to pucker up and blow.